Just introduce yourself, who you are.
Gotcha.
All right.
Hey, how are you doing? My name's Robert Edwards. I'm born in Tampa, Florida. So, I've always wanted to tell this story. Basically, my childhood leading to where I got to as far as my criminal record to where I'm at today. I was born in 1967, December 23rd, named after my grandmother. Her name's Roberta, and they named me Robert. I started going to Lois Elementary. I went to Lois Elementary School. From there, I went to Bryan 6th Grade Center, which is on Hillsborough and 30th Street, if I'm not mistaken, 32nd. Hillsborough and 32nd. And then from there, I went to Sly, Greco, and King High School. As growing up as a kid, all the way through high school, I never had any interaction with any police officers, never had any criminal record, criminal record, or any kind of juvenile record, or anything of that nature. I played football for Temple Terrace Independent League. I played for Wildcats. I played for the Cougars, and also I played for the Lions. I probably was one of the favorites or best player on the team. I played running back and also free safety. I stayed in the paper, Temple Terrace paper, Tampa Tribune. One of the fastest guys in the league, the most touchdowns, most kickoff returns, punt returns. And then I went off to King High School. So I started my first year at King High School, and that was the time that they were building Armwood, and they were doing school changes, sending kids from King because it was overpopulated to the new school, which was Armwood. And I decided, hey, I needed a change, so I decided to go to Armwood. I went to Armwood, stayed there for 2 years. First year at King, 2 years at Armwood. I was the first class graduation at Armwood, I think in 1986, if I'm not mistaken. I went from there. I started working. I worked for Casa Gallardo, which was a Mexican restaurant. That was my first job ever, working at Casa Gallardo. I quit that job and started working for Cash and Carry. At the time, Cash and Carry was one of our first grocery stores, or one of our only, well, it was Cash and Carry, Winn-Dixie, and I'm not sure if Publix was around. I don't remember. But I know Cash and Carry was our main store here in Tampa. I had worked there for approximately 6 months before they asked me if I wanted to be GTL, which is grocery team leader. And I was undecided about wanting to move up because I would have to come in at midnight at night and have to stay until, it was an over the night job. At that time, I really didn't want to work that time of night, be out from 12 to 8, 9 in the morning. So I decided against it right then. So I kept working on the stock crew for the next 2 to 3 months. He came to me again and asked me if I wanted to be GTL. And he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. At the time, I think I started out with like $10.75 an hour, and he offered me $13 an hour, and I decided to take the job. So I took the job and enjoyed working there. I got promoted from there like a year later to another store, which was on Hillsborough and Armenia, the Cash and Carry there. I got promoted to a bigger store, which moved me to grocery manager from GTL, from team leader to grocery manager, which was more money. I think they started paying me salary. So now, this is where it starts to take off for me as far as my interaction with people, as far as me starting to change who I was as far as a person, because I never had any problem with people before, but this particular store, the store manager had already picked someone to be in the position that the general manager or the regional manager put me into his store, but he already had someone he wanted to put in that store, in that position. So when I got there, his name was Joe LaBarber, and he was the store manager for cash and carry on Hillsborough and Armenia. He gave me a hard time. Why? I mean, one of my reasons was because he wanted to put this other guy in that position. Two, because really after getting to know him and seeing how he was, I figured that he had a problem with people of color. So we were getting ready to have a bank open inside the store. This is when the grocery store started having banks come in, and people were able to do their banking inside of the grocery departments and inside of grocery stores. Well, we were one of the first stores to get a bank in it, and I had just had a truck come in. My guys put the stock up on the shelf, and I had my store manager, Joe LaBarber, leave me a note. I think we came in at midnight. He left me a note saying, "Robert, in the morning, if the store is not aced out, I'm going to have your ass, because it's an important day. We're having a grand opening for this bank, and the store better be aced out." So I'm looking at the letter. I'm like, damn, who in the hell are you talking to like that? I'm like, this for a store manager, this isn't very professional. This isn't how you talk to people. So I was like, man, you know what? And we had an overnight officer, which was a black officer, because it was a 24-hour store. We had an officer working there. So I showed him the letter. I said, hey, look, man, look what the store manager left for me. And he read the letter. He's like, man, that's crazy. He's like, if I was you, I'll keep that letter. So I took that letter, folded it up, and I put it in my glove compartment. So as time went by, things with me and that manager wasn't getting any better. It was getting worse. This guy really was trying to get rid of me. He was trying to get me to quit, or trying to make it that me and him have some kind of altercation that I was going to have to be fired or whatever. So about 2-3 months went by, and I went to the store. I had that day before off, and I think it might have been like a Friday, and I came in on Saturday. So I went to the store, which I had got promoted to the one on Hillsborough and Armenia. So when I got in the store, I'm getting ready to clock in, get ready to do our thing. And the manager who was on at that time was just like a front end manager. He told me, "Hey, Rob, they transfer you. You don't work here anymore." I was like, "What?" He's like, yeah, they transfer you back to the other store that you came from. They say they needed you over there. So I was like, damn, okay, cool. I was like, no one even called to tell me, to inform me that I'm no longer working here, that I got transferred over there. I was like, man, this shit is crazy. I said, okay, cool. So I left out the store, so I went over to the other store that I had got transferred to. I transferred back over to the old store. So I went in there, and they had their front end manager on, and like, hey, Rob, hey, welcome back. Hey, man, I'm glad to see you. What's going on? He's like, oh, let me tell you before you get started. 2 of your guys called in sick. John wants you to pull all the back stock out from the back and work everything from the back. And you have a truck coming in with 1,000 pieces on it. Now, this is my first day back to this store. And this guy's telling me that I had 2 guys that called in sick. I'm already short-handed. They got 1,000-piece truck coming in, and they have like 20 pallets of back stock in the back that they wanted me to pull out on the floor and go through. So when I went to the back, I looked at all that back stock. It was just pallets of stuff that they ordered that couldn't go on the shelf at the time, that they had to just stack it on pallets, and they wanted me to pull it all out. And I'm already pissed off because I got transferred back over to this store without even being told. So I say, You know what? I'm young. I think at the time I was like 21 years old. I like, man, I ain't doing this. I'm gonna quit. So I walked back up to the front. As I was walking back up to the front, I was walking through produce, and there was a Spanish kid who worked with me when I worked there before. And he was like, "Hey, Rob, hey, man, what's going on?" I'm like, "Man, they just sent me back over here, man, all that shit in the back. Man, look, man, I'm not doing it." I'm quitting, man. He like, "You quitting?" I like, "I'm quitting." He like, "Man, if you quit, I'm quitting." I like, "You quit? You can't quit, man. Come on, man." He's like, "Yeah, if you quit, I'm quitting." I like, "Man, I'm quitting, man. I ain't doing this shit." So I walked back up to the front, and I asked the front end manager. I said, "Hey, let me out, buddy." He's like, "Would you left something in your car? You need to go to your car to get something out your car." I like, "Nah, I quit, man. I'm not doing it." He started laughing. He's like, "Man, you're not quitting, man. You make more money than me with your overtime." He's like, "You're gonna quit for real?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm quitting." He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm quitting too." And he said, "I can understand you're quitting, but Rob, you're quitting." And I was like, "Yeah, open the door, let me out." So when the man opened up the door, we walked out the door. And when I walked out, it kind of like hit me. I'm like, damn, am I really quitting? I just quit my job. I was like, "Man, what do you want to do?" So next to that cash and carry that was on Hillsborough and Del Mabry in 275, there was a ABC liquor store. I said, "Man, let's go to ABC." I'm not even a drinker, but for what just went down, I just felt like I wanted to drink something. So we went over to the ABC liquor store and we got a 6-pack of Slits Malt Liquor Bull, the tall cans. We got that and we got back in the car and we drove across the street, which was Mons Venus. Mons Venus is like a nudie bar. Joe Redner owned it, and we pulled over there. We sat in the parking lot and drunk like 2 apiece. And from just 2 of those tall cans of Slits Malt Liquor Bull, I was like twisted. So we ended up going in. We sat at the stage. We went inside of Mons Venus. We sat at the stage and just enjoyed ourselves right then and just watch girls and just chill. And in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, man, you're stupid. You just quit your job. Your mom's gonna kill you. So from there, we ended up leaving. I gave him a ride back home to his house and went home, jumped in the bed, and I thought, laid in the bed, like, damn, I don't have a job. Where am I'm gonna get my source of income from? And I had never thought about doing crime or committing any kind of heinous act. I just, from that point there, it kind of like hit me. You know what? This is what I'm gonna do. They pissed me off. I'm going back. So I waited a week until all the money that I had in my pocket and my check, I think I had just received my check and I had to give my mom probably like half of the check. And I put a plan together. I got up a few guys that I knew and I said, you know what? I want to go back and hit that store. I want to hit that store. I want to go and do woo-woo-woo, and this is what we're going to do. I know everything to lay out, inside and out. So we got everything we need, all the necessary material, all the equipment that it was going to take to pull it off. And that morning, which was like on a Friday, I wanted to hit it when I thought that it had the most money inside the customer service and the most money inside of the safe. So I hashed up a plan for one guy to go over to the produce area because I know there was a phone in there and I know I didn't want anyone getting to that phone. And one guy watched the door and one guy went up to the customer service with me. So we went, achieved my goal. I went inside approximately like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning when I know it wouldn't be that busy, but everything would be on hand. I successfully pulled it off, made it back. I think we probably got like $15,000, $17,000 or something from that heist. So I divided that money up amongst us. I think it was 4 people. I divided that money up, and I went about my business. So once that money was spent, I said, you know what? We're going to go do the other one. So I got my guys together, and we decided we're going to go do the other one. And I went to the one on Hillsborough and Armenia, and I also did that one. The craziest thing about this one was that I took every coin that was in the safe. I took all the bills. It was like, I'll say like $600-$700 in ones. There was like $500 in quarters, a couple $100 in dimes, nickels, and pennies. But the reason why I say that, because on the way out, I had so much weight inside the duffel bag, it was hard for me to get it on my shoulder to try to get it out the door. So one of the guys was trying to help me. I had a bag boy trying to intervene, trying to stop us or something. But my guy, did what he had to do to keep him from intervening. And by the time I made it to the car, got the bag in there, made it to the second car, it was a wrap. But as time went from there, I did in and out jobs. I worked at car dealerships. I worked at Ed Morris Cadillac probably from the year from 90, 91, 92, 93. I started my bank robbery career around 93, 94. And I got in that just simply by my brother-in-law. Knew a guy who wanted to rob a bank. Now, growing up as a kid, you hear people say, oh yeah, I want to rob a bank, man. The only way you got to rob a bank, you got to rob a bank to get that kind of money. Oh yeah. And I was like, damn, robbing a bank. If you rob a bank, you'd be a millionaire, man. That's the mentality you had growing up as a kid, as a young adult. So my brother-in-law came to me one day. He was like, hey man, check this out. I know this guy, man, this white guy, he want to rob a bank. He looking for somebody he know, easy lick. I was like, yeah. Bring him to me. I want to meet him. Bring him over here. So like 2 days later, he brought the guy over. We sat and talked for a minute. He told me about the bank. I said, I want to see it. Take me to it. So he take me to the bank. I was trying to see what the people were doing because it looked like they had to be buzzed in. I was like, they got to be buzzed in? The first bank I did was the one on Hillsborough in Havana. I think it was Florida Bank or something similar to that. It wasn't a big name brand bank or big branch. It was just like a independent, a small bank. But anyway, you had to be buzzed to get in. I was like, man, look, I don't want to do no bank. You got to be buzzed to get in. What about you got to be buzzed to get out? He like, no, I already been in. You don't have to worry about that. Once you get in, I'm like, are you serious? He like, yeah, bro, man, it's going to be easy, man. I was like, fuck it, let's do it. So he's like, I'm going to get the cars and everything, and then woo. I was like, I'll get the scraps and I'll get everything else. We're going to handle this. So we picked the day, which was going to be on a Friday. And we picked that day because we felt like that's the day that the most money would be in the bank, in the tellers. Because Friday is normally check cashing day. So we felt like that'd be the best day to do it. So I picked him up around 10:30 or so. I wanted to make sure I'm around there hitting the bank around right before lunchtime, when I feel like people was going to come and be doing their thing, getting the check cash, and it was going to be the most amount of money in the tellers at that time. So I picked him up. We go get our first vehicle, a stolen vehicle that he used a screwdriver to get. I think it was a Mustang 5.0. It was. It was a Mustang 5.0 with like a hellacious engine, and it was all souped up and everything. So we go get in the first car, and our second car was a Nissan Maxima that I had. We had got from Nissan of Tampa or something. We had keys to it and everything. So we had parked that behind the Publix because it was in like a Publix shopping center, and the bank set up on the corner of Hillsborough and Havana. So we're on our way heading west on Hillsborough right before Armenia. I got me, my other guy, and the person who originally wanted to do the bank, and sitting in the car with me. So when we pull up the Hillsborough and Armenia, this guy, we already ready. We got the gloves on, we got the mat, we got the straps, we got the bag, we ready, we finna get down. Soon we pull up the Hillsborough and Armenia, this guy tells me, he starts crying. Look, no, Rob, man, I can't do this, man. I can't do it, man. No, I'm on probation. I'm on probation with the feds, man. I can't do this, man. If something happened, man, I'm going to go away forever. I looked at him like, damn, hold on, just chill. I'm thinking in the back of my head, is this some shit? I said, Dana, what's that? What's up, bud? What you want to do? He like, man, whatever, Rob, whatever you want to do, I'm going to do. I say, fuck it, come on. I pulled over there was a little Crystal's hamburger right down the corner, like Armenia and Hillsborough. There's a Crystal. So I pulled into there, I dropped him off, bam. I say, just wait right here, man. We're going to do this. So me and Dana jumped up in the front seat with me. We pull out of Crystal. We pull up to the bank. So when we pulled up to the bank, we got dark tinted windows on the Mustang. So we sitting out front, and we're waiting to try to get in because I know you have to be buzzed in. So I say, Dana, you see these two old people right here? As soon as they get that door open, when they buzz in, he gonna hold the door open. We going in, bam. He said, all right, so we waiting. The people, they walking real slow. They walked up there. As soon as they pull the door open, they go in, me and Dana out of the car. Bam, I'm the first one in the door behind the people. Dana pushed them on in. He stood at the door. I'm over the counter, bam. I'm hitting all the teller. Now check it. This is my first bank. It happened so fast, but in slow motion that I can almost remember everything that happened. I can remember Dana standing by the door. There was a little kid trying to run out the door. He kept him from running out the door. I can remember, even though I'm at the tellers, pulling all the tellers, even at the drive-thru, I can remember the bank manager walking through with a graceful walk, just saying, just give them whatever they want. Don't do anything. Whatever they want, just do whatever they say. So I'm still handling my business, doing what I'm supposed to do. And then Dana like, let's go. Boom. I jumped back across the counter. Boom, we out there. I jumped in the car, went around the back of Publix where I had the second vehicle at. Bam. See, the reason why I parked the car behind Publix because I wanted to give them a sense that I was driving down Havana because they're going to see me coming out driving down Havana heading south. But I dipped behind the Publix, jumped into my second vehicle, and came out on Hillsborough and proceeded to go down Hillsborough heading east. So I'm going to have all the police, oh, they went that way. I'm having them looking that way when actually I'm in the second vehicle in a totally different car, totally different color, heading in the opposite direction. So anyway, Greg had a ride. He met me back at my house. We counted up the money that we had. And Greg was like, man, I can't believe it. Man, you did it. Man, I can't believe it. Man, I can't believe it. So this is the guy who started crying at the red light on Armenia, who didn't want to do it. Even though he didn't participate, I still broke him off. I think I got like $8,700 out of the first one. Very disappointing to me. But nevertheless, I think I gave him like $500, $600 just for being there. Plus, I wanted to make him a part of it. Even though he didn't participate, I wanted to make him a part of it. That way, he don't run his mouth, he don't tell, even though that was going to happen anyway. After that, I was like, damn. My people was like, man, that was easy, man. We gonna have to do another one. So I waited approximately maybe 3-4 months, and we scouted out to do another one. My very second one, I did off I-4. 4th Street exit off of Gandy in St. Pete. Man, really nice. I think I grossed like 47,000. I took like 47,000 out of there. Somewhere around there, 35,000, 47,000. It was all the same to me. That particular one there, I just wanted to do something away from Tampa because it was already hot from the one before. So I decided I'm gonna go across the bridge. We went across the bridge. I seen it right there. It was a nice location. It was right off of Gandy and 4th Street. Jump back on Gandy, do my little thing. Nice. So we got all the material, everything, all the tools we needed to pull the job off. 2 cars, whatever. Went over there, and we did it. It was really easy. Now this particular bank right here, what I can remember that's really outstanding to me is that in the process of me grabbing all the money and getting the tellers, hitting the tellers, I can remember there was about 3 or 4 college kids who was standing in line waiting to see the teller. And I can just remember them saying, "Oh, fuck, all right, go, hell yeah, buddy, go." And I was like, damn. So anyway, I hit him, which was a pretty good lick. I think I got somewhere between like 37,000, 40,000 or something like that out of there. And made it to the second car, came back across the bridge, across Gandy, and came to the house and divided them among the guys who I was with. And they went their separate ways. Now, it wasn't like it was something planned. It wasn't like that I wanted to make this a thing, or I wanted to be a bank robbery, do banks all my life. It was just something that happened out of the blue. It was just something that I had been doing other things that wasn't really paying off. I mean, my brother-in-law once, he's like, "Hey man, I know this guy got like 10 pounds of weed. He got like $20,000 in his house, and boom, I seen it in there last night, or I seen it in there last week or whatever." I like, "Man, you sure, man?" So I used to do little things like that, and it wasn't paying up. When I got there, man, I'll tear the fucking house up, do whatever I had to do to try to find. It wasn't there. So I had to end up fucking getting steaks out the fridge, or fucking lobsters, or brand new Jordans or Nikes or something, just to make up for the time that I spent trying to find this money, which wasn't there. So I just got tired of it, and I said to myself, man, you know what? I'm putting my life and freedom in jeopardy going to all these places that ain't paying out. I need to do something that I know it's going to be money. It's there. That's their job to have it there. And that what made me decide to, if I'm going to do something, I got to do it where it's at. If I'm going to take this risk, I got to make sure it's worth it. So that's why I was like, I'm not messing with no more of these petty drug dealers. These bitches don't got shit. I'm going to go right where the money's at. So I had did that for a while, and end up by my fifth bank, I wanted to do something big. I wanted to like not take over the bank because I still was on a time limit, but I wanted to get the most. And this was the first time I ever used 2 guys to go over the counter. It always was me, because I know what I'm looking for. I'm moving rapidly. I don't want no problem. So I always was the one to get the money. But this time I wanted to use two because I felt like I'm going to get double the amount. So I scoped out this one bank. It was like on Line Ball and Anderson Road or somewhere down there. I think it was like Bank of America. No, whatever it was. It doesn't matter. So I felt like it was a pretty good had apartment complex set across the road. I can put my second car there. I can make it look like I'm going this way. I can pretty much do the same thing and give them the illusion that I'm heading in one direction when I'm going to the other one. So I got my crew together. We got all the vehicles, the things that we was going to need to be able to pull it off successfully, and we headed that way. So when we got there, pull up in the driveway, in the parking, and right in front of the bank, we was in a minivan. And the reason why I started using minivans because it's easy for you to be able to change your clothes, stand up in the back of it, change your clothes, and do what you have to do without being seen. Sliding door, easy access to get out. You have multiple people, so it was easy instead of trying to climb across seats and cars. So we always use minivans for our first vehicle. So when we pulled up to this bank, which was like approximately like 9:30 in the morning, it was really nice. So when I pulled up to the front of the bank and decided this was the time to go in, I was the first person through the door on the counter. When I jumped over on top of the counter, there was money scattered all over the counter. And what I figured and I found out is that Wells Fargo had just made a drop off at that bank, and the ladies was counting the bills, and they had it all on the counter laid out. So on top of the counter, I'm on the counter with my bag, just getting all the bills off the counter. So I had another person also with me getting money while I had the other two people holding people at bay. We getting the money. This guy's getting the money. I jumped down because I got everything out the count off the top of the counter. Now I'm hitting the drawers. We getting the money. Boom. My guy says it's time to go. We jump over back across the counter to proceed outside the bank. And when we got back in the van, I'm the driver, always the driver. I pulled to exit from the bank on to Anderson. I was heading south, so I was making a right on the Anderson, and I was going to make a really quick. Once I made that bend out of the view from the bank, they couldn't see me. Once I made that bend, I was going to dip into the apartment complex real quick and change it to my second car. Soon as we pulled outside the bank, the guy who went across the counter with me was sitting in the front seat. As soon as I went to make that turn, I just seen a inside of the car. He had took a wad of 20s, which was approximately like $2,000, if I'm not mistaken, 2,000 or 5,000, something like that. He took a wad of 20s that had a dye pack in it, and he shoved it in his pants. He was trying to cuff mean he was trying to steal from us. He was just trying to get that for himself. But little did he know that was a dye pack. It blew up in his pants, and he was over there sitting while I'm driving, trying to get away from the bank. We just robbed this bank. This guy's sitting there like, oh, what is fuck? Look what I was like, what the fuck? I was like, pull it out. And he had a bunch of burnt up 20s and smoke coming out. I said, throw it out the window. So he rolled the window down. He threw it out the window. I'm like, damn, what happened? How the fuck that happened? And he was like, man, I just grabbed it. I just put it there because my bag had filled, and I just put it in my band. I put it right there. And I was like, oh, don't worry about it. Okay, let's ride. So we went to the second vehicle. I'm thinking, I was like, this motherfucker was trying to cuff a whole stack of 20s, and the shit blew up in his pants. And the first thing I told him was, watch out for the 20s, especially the ones over to the far left. Most time it's going to be a dye pack. And he grabbed it, not paying attention, and it blew up in his pants. But anyway, we got out of there, which was a nice lick because it was a substantial amount of money that was laying on the counter. So I probably ended up with like 50, 60 grand from there. Went back to our house, hired out, and divided it amongst the 4 people who participated in the bank robbery. So as time went, I had enough money for a long period of time that I wasn't really worried about doing anything for a minute. And, I was just chilling out, just doing my little things, selling a couple little sacks of weed here and there, and just trying to stay out of the way, stay out of trouble. And one day, maybe like, I don't know, 6, 7 months, I had someone come up to me and he said, "Hey man, I know these guys who want to rob an armored car." And I was like, "Man, shit, an armored car?" I was like, "I ain't really interested in doing an armored car," until he told me, "Man, the guy works on the car. He's going to be real easy. He works for the company." I was like, "For real? Oh shit. Okay, I want to talk to him. Let me talk to him." So he brought him over, and it was like a Jamaican guy who works for Wells Fargo. I think when he brought him over, the guy even had the Wells Fargo uniform on. Something of that nature. I remember seeing a Wells Fargo uniform. But anyway, he was like, "Yeah, man, he driving a brand new Porsche. He had been taking little individual packs of money from other carts, throwing it in his carts when he had to go to Wells Fargo. I guess how I can't remember the setup, but he was telling me some shit like when he had to get his cart. Sometimes it's not watching the way you angle yourself. You can slide a pack of money or off for one of the bins and put it in yours, and you just gotta remember which one it is. And he used to like take the cart, load up his truck, and he put to the side the one he took from somebody else's bin. And then when he go to make his drops and stuff, he get to like a Publix or some type of grocery store or a convenience store. He'll go in the bathroom and hide it into the garbage bag. Call his brother up and have his brother, "Hey man, you got to get over there real quick and get this money. I just put $50,000 cash inside the bathroom, inside Publix bathroom." I was like, "What? Are you serious? You used to do that?" He had did it like 3 or 4 times. So that's how he bought the Porsche. So anyway, I said, "Yeah, man, tell me about the lick." So he told me about the lick. Yeah. It's gonna be easy. It's like about you would get it like 250, 500,000. All right, then I want to see it. So the following day, he came and scooped me up, picked me up, and we decided to go and check out this lick. So this lick was over in St. Pete. Now they had took an old bank and converted it into something they called the money store. And this is a building that used to be a bank, and all the armored car drivers, that's where they pull money from to take to other banks or other facilities and stuff. So that's why they call it the money store, because that's the only thing they did was house money and load up armored cars to deliver money to other facilities. So he took me over there. I'm looking. I was like, "Okay, yeah, cool." I see the guy come out with the money and stuff. I see him throwing it in the back of the armored car. So I'm like, "Okay, what would we do?" I would pull up from the side, catch him from the side when he got his back to me. So as I'm watching, seeing it from a distance, I'm putting my thoughts together, my plan together. How would I pull it off? Always going to be 2 cars, going to be this, going to be that. I got to need this, need that. So I was like, "Yeah, man, we can do it." So we headed back to Tampa, and we decided we were going to do it. So we meet up like 2 days later. We have everything we need. We got the minivan. We got the second vehicle. I think it was even a third. We had even a third vehicle. I even had a particular group of people watching me specifically, that if anything happened to me, if I had to get on the run, that they're going to meet me somewhere. They're going to follow me or meet me at a distance, and they're going to scoop me up. I always had my own safety net. If anything ever happened, they watching from a distance, they can scoop me up, take me out of harm's way. So we got everybody in place. We pull up, we sitting in our spot. We see the armored car pull up. I got a bulletproof vest on, gloves, ski mask, hoodie, everything. He got the same on. He's got a bulletproof vest. We have a driver. We're in the minivan. We seen the armored car pull up to the money store. The messenger is a guy who, he's in the back. He does all the moving the money, go in the store. He's the messenger. And also the truck have a driver. The driver is the person that drives. He only drives. He cannot open the door, get out of the van. But he have portholes that he's capable and able to shoot from. So once the messenger got the doors open to the truck, he went inside the money store and came back out with a big laundry bin full of money. We pull up to the side, and when we pull up to the side, I was the first person out of the minivan. I opened up the door. I had a 44 Red Desert Eagle, Red Hawk Desert Eagle, some shit. And when I came out the minivan, the messenger seen me, left all the money right there, and ran to the front of the truck. I went to the rear of the truck, stood right here just to see where he went. I turned back around to start grabbing the money to throw into the minivan. My guy, he stood at the back of the truck watching the messenger at the front of the truck. So when I went to grab the money to throw in the back of the truck, it slipped because of the gloves. It was saran wrapped money in a square about this big right here. Saran wrapped together with, I think it was in some kind of cloth material wrap first, and then it was wrapped with plastic. So when I went to try to grab it and having the gun right here, the money slipped out of my hand. That's when the messenger started shooting at my guy. So they started exchanging gunfire back and forth. So I went down to try to grab the money again, and it was so freaking heavy I couldn't get it to throw it in the minivan. The driver started shooting at me. I grabbed my 44 and I upped it into the back of the truck where the driver was. And now, granted, we have a truck, I don't know, maybe 10 feet long, 9-10 feet long. I'm not sure how long a truck is, an armored truck. But I know personally that the driver was no more than 6-7 feet from me, sitting in the back of the truck. I'm standing in the center of the back of the truck where the door is open. He has 2 portholes that he can shoot out of. I am standing there. When I upped the 44 on the first pull, when I pulled it, the gun from the concussion, from the pressure from the gun, it just started going off, boom, 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 because I tried to shoot it with one hand. Now, the driver is shooting at me through the hole, and I'm still trying to handle this gun, shooting back at him. And he's shooting at me through the porthole. And when I turned to my right and I seen that the minivan was starting to leave, I then turned around this way to my left, and I end up dropping the gun. It slipped out of my hand. I dropped the gun. I ran and jumped inside the minivan because the sliding door was open on the minivan, and this guy was waiting for his brother to get in because he was gonna fucking leave me. That's the only thing I can think of. He was gonna leave me. If I wouldn't have made it to that van, he was gonna leave me. At the time I'm running to jump inside the minivan, the driver and the messenger is shooting out all the windows in the minivan. So when I dived in it, by me diving in it, kept me down, kept me from being able to get shot. But I got shot in my heel, and my buddy's brother got shot in the back of his head, which grazed him, and he was bleeding from the back of his head down. I had on a black bulletproof vest, and he had on a white bulletproof vest. So I can see the blood leaking from his head down on the bulletproof vest because it was white and the blood was red. So I was like, damn, trying to figure out where he got hit at, but it had got hit, grazed in the back of his head, and started leaking onto the vest. So we made it to our second vehicle. We was getting away. They were just running down the road. The messenger running down the road, just shooting out the van, trying to stop the van from getting away. So we got to the light. The light was red. He wanted to stop at the light. I was like, man, go, go, go. I made him run the light, go to our second vehicle. We got to the second vehicle. We changed cars. And we made it across the bridge. Back across, I think we came Howard Franklin. Across the Howard Franklin Bridge. And inside the vehicle, he was saying that he was going to Orlando to take his brother because his aunt was a nurse in Orlando, and he wanted to seek medical attention from his brother with a gunshot wound in the back of his head. So all this going on, I make it back to my place. I'm chilling. I'm kind of like stressing, going by what just fucking took place, and at the money store, I was trying to rob this armored car. So I my girl, she knows all about it and everything, and she kind of comfort me, and we're watching TV, watching a movie or something. I get a knock at the door. I get this knock at the door, and my girl goes to answer the door, and it's Hillsborough County Sheriff Department. So I'm like, fuck, oh shit. So she's like, yeah, he's here. Like, what are you here for? It's like, he's got a warrant out for his arrest for domestic violence. I'm like, fuck. And she's like, no, I dropped the charges. There was we had a little disagreement, a little argument, and I dropped the charges on him. And, I'm not holding any charges against him. And he was like, well, the judge still want to see him. They still got the charges for domestic violence, so we're going to have to take him out, but he can, you can come and bond him out. So I was like, fuck, I can't believe it. After what just took place today, this guy is coming to arrest me on a domestic violence charge. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to keep my cool because I had to go along with it. I didn't want to bring no attention to myself. So he arrests me. He take me down around the corner. I think at the time I stayed on like Sly and 50th Street. He pulled into like a vacant apartment complex to do his paperwork. And at that time, he let me use his personal phone to call my girl to just talk to her while he does the paperwork. So after doing the paperwork, we proceeded to go to Orient Road, which I was booked in at on domestic violence charge. And I had to go in front of the judge in order for him to see what was going to take place. So now, that night, I'm going through it. I'm stressing. I was like, damn, I just fucking tried to rob this armored car. This man coming. I don't want to be in here, and they find out it's me, and then them try to, oh Lord, shit, I got to get the hell out of here. I was like, man, this is not good. So I'm inside my cell. I'm tripping. I'm like, man, how did this fucking happen? After what happened today, now I'm fucking in here on the same freaking day. I was like, okay, I'm just wait till I see the judge. So I laid down to go to sleep. I think I was in the cell by myself at this time. It wasn't too busy, too crowded inside the pod. It was just like a one-man cell. I fell asleep. Inside of me sleeping, I'm having this dream about the armored car robbery that happened earlier that day. I'm playing this shit back in my head inside my dream. In my dream, I'm seeing everything that took place, me coming out, shooting slow motion, everything moving in slow motion. But it was just one particular thing inside the dream that was going on that was confusing the hell out of me. While I was standing or sleeping inside my dream, I kept hearing this sound was like, but I'm dreaming and I'm like, not knowing, not really sure what was that noise, what was it coming from. I know I was dreaming, so I was like, fuck. But when I hear that noise, I wake up in like a cold sweat. I'm like, damn, what was that noise? What was that noise? So I said, you know what? I'm gonna go back to sleep. I'm gonna lay back down. I'm gonna go back to sleep. I'm gonna go back to that dream, and I'm gonna figure out I'm gonna figure out what the fuck is that noise. So I somehow lay back down. I fell asleep, and I went right back to that dream. And inside the dream, I'm seeing it all again, but I'm telling myself I need to slow it down, slow the dream down, so I can see exactly where that noise is coming from. And inside that dream, when I slowed it down, that noise was coming from bullets, the bullets that was being shot from the driver who was shooting through the portholes at me. They were just whizzing by me, and that was that psh, psh noise that I heard in my dream. So I was like, fuck, man, this guy is right no more than 5-6 feet from me, shooting at me, but the bullets are going around me. I'm like, I have some angels. Anyway, eventually I got a chance to see the judge, and I think I was on probation at the time. He just reinstated my probation, brought me back in front with the person who dropped the charges against me, and just closed the case on the domestic violence charge, because the person who dropped the charges wasn't going to testify against me. So I don't think at that time state was picking up cases and stuff like that. It wasn't just that serious. But I ended up getting that case dropped, and just end up finished doing my probation for whatever else. I think I had like a Grand Theft Auto or something that I was on at the time. So as time went by, I kind of chilled out on doing banks and stuff. I was, just doing little petty ins and odd things, making a few $100s a day here and there, had little connections with weed, and just doing a couple sacks here and there with friends and, family and people who, was smoking and wanted to smoke. I was just trying to make a few dollars that way. And after that, I decided to get back in the nick of things. I had this girl come up to me who was my girl's best friend. And, I hadn't robbed a bank or did anything in quite some time. But I was okay as far as money was concerned. I wasn't hurting for nothing. And I had this girl come up to me, and she was like, bro, I need you. And I'm like, damn. Ooh, what was up? She's like, man, you're not gonna believe I ended up having a accident in Ybor over the weekend, and this girl pulls up, and she ends up slamming on her brakes, and I end up hitting her from the back. But we both got out of the car, and we went and looked at the car, and I didn't have any damage to my car, and she didn't have any damage to her car, and we just agreed that it was okay. We were just gonna go off. But I found that she called the cops and said I did a hit and run. I was like, what? Are you serious? She's like, yeah, man. She ended up fucking calling the cops. So I want to get I have that little bit of damage on my car right there. I just want to get that fixed, and I just want to paint my car for they won't know it was me. I was like, so what you want me to do? She's like, man, I will do anything, man. So I don't know what you be doing, but I know you be coming up with money and stuff, but I'll do whatever you can do in my car. I'll drive, whatever you want to do. I'll do it to end up to get out of this jam with this car. I'm like, damn. I'm like, man, I'll see what's up. I'll get back with you. So I'm thinking like, damn, man, this girl gonna be messing with me about trying to help her get some money, and I definitely don't want to come out of my pocket. I was like, I don't mind doing something to get a few extra dollars, but it's got to be the right thing. So I went on a scout. I went out looking around, try to find something close in the area. We didn't have to go too far. And that I can be able to help this girl for she can be able to get out of her little jam. So I found one which was on Himes. I think it was like a little sun bank or some type of bank, a little sun bank or something on Himes, right between Hillsborough and MLK. And it was like perfect to me because it had those high branches that was like hiding the building for the people, the passerby, as the cars going down the street couldn't really see what was going on because they had those high bushes so high that was surrounding the building. So I was like, damn, okay, cool. I was like, all right, let me get everybody up together. We're going to get all the stuff I'm going to need to be able to pull this off. And since I'm already got a stolen car hidden over here, I don't have to use a second car because I'm going to have her use her car. That's how I'm going to use her. I'm going to have her use her car. I'm going to break her off for just doing that right there. And then, make me a few dollars in the process. So I say, look, man, check this out. I'm finna get ready and do this lick. Did I tell her? Yeah, I told her it was a bank, but I just wanted her to wait for me in the spot in my second location. She didn't really have to have too much ideas of what was going on, but I just wanted her to be the second vehicle and be in that location. Cool. So I got my people together. So we went in, pulled the lick off. Ended up getting like 22,000 out of there. Got back to where the second car was at, left the stolen vehicle there, jumped into her vehicle, not knowing at the time that when we transferred from one vehicle to the next, there was somebody on the second floor in the apartment looking out the window at us. So we got in the vehicle, switched cars, got in her vehicle, proceeded to go to where I left my vehicle at, for we can just leave her vehicle over here in another apartment complex off of MLK, got in my vehicle, went back to my place, broke everybody off, and everybody went on their separate way. So this is the story that I heard, that in the process of us dropping off the first vehicle to get in her vehicle, the guy up top seen us getting in her vehicle. I don't know if he got her tag number. I know he got the make and model, but I'm not sure if he got the tag number or not. But when the police and the helicopter was looking for the first vehicle, they seen I had ducked and tucked it over in this apartment complex. You had to see it from a helicopter because you couldn't see it from the road, because you turn in and go right there. You had to pull in and be searching or see it from the helicopter. They came over there to get the first vehicle that we went up in the bank in, and they were looking for witnesses, people who seen anything. So the guy on the second floor who was looking out the window must have seen all the police and the cops down there looking at the vehicle we had just left there, and he decided to come down and tell his side of the story, so to speak. Excuse me. So when this guy come down to tell his side of the story, he told the cops exactly what he seen. Oh yeah, I seen like 3 or 4 people come get out of this car. They got in another car. They got in this car and decided to pull out and head to Armenia, because we were closest to Armenia than we were to Himes and Havana. So we pulled out, made that right turn, and got on Armenia and headed to the location to distribute the money. Now, they got the information about her car from the guy on the second floor. So when he gave them the color of the car, the make and the model and shit, they started looking for that vehicle. And they found it in the second location that we put it off into another apartment complex. They ran the VIN number, got her tag number, and found out it was her car. At that time, if I can remember correctly, I'm not sure how it went down, man. Only thing I know is they knew about her car and they were on her ass. She called me up and told me, man, these people are saying my car was used in some kind of robbery, whatever. And I was like, what you said? Like, yeah, it wasn't me. That couldn't have been my car. It got to be somebody else. Or I like, you just stick with that story. You don't know shit. Just tell them just like that. So I'm like, oh shit, it's about to go down. So now they got some information about the car that was used, the person who might have been involved and stuff like that. So you already know they're going to be watching. So I'm trying to keep my distance from that person, and my furthest distance as possible from that person. But somehow the person, okay, so her nephew used to do little jobs with me, little weed and stuff. We used to go get little stolen items, selling stuff like that. And he knew about the things I did, and he was connected to her. So somehow he had some kind of connections with the police. He was involved in some kind of home invasion, and they found in his house a jacket that he had stole from a SWAT team member's house in Brandon. So he was already in the system on the investigation, talking to the police anyway. Somehow he mentioned my name. I got involved. So they had been watching me. I didn't even know. So around December 23rd, which was my birthday. So on my birthday, I woke up that morning. And we decided we were going to go deep sea fishing out Clearwater on the Double Eagle. Deep sea fishing. So I was like, okay, my birthday, I'm going fishing. So we're going to take my daughter and drop her off at the daycare. And then my son was going to go with me. I had my son too, Julian. He was with me. So we went to drop my daughter off. Well, before I went to drop my daughter off, when I came outside to get in the vehicle, there was a fucking large, white bread bus, like those buses that carry bread, like Wonder Bread trucks, like almost like a box truck kind of thing. Well, it was like a brand new one sitting outside in front of my house with all the other cars and stuff in the parking lot next to my car with dark tinted windows. You couldn't see in it. And at the time we were having fiber optic lines put down in the apartment complex. So I'm thinking that these was the guys who was working for the fiber optic, and they parked so fucking close to my car that I wasn't able to open up the passenger side of the door to put my daughter in the car seat. So I'm trying to look into this fucking van. I'm trying to look into it, but the window's so dark. And I'm walking around by the pool. I'm carrying her. I'm walking around by the pool. I'm like, these motherfuckers, they better be glad. So I had to put her in through the driver's side to the car seat, lean over and put her in the car seat, and then, get in. And I had to pull out and let my son get in through the passenger side and let my girl get in the front passenger side. So we decided to leave. We pull out, and I'm going to drop my daughter off to the daycare, and then I was going to get some breakfast from McDonald's and head back to the house to pick up all the fishing gear and head out to Clearwater. So I'm not knowing at this time, the whole time, that I have the feds, FBI, following me around. I'm not even knowing. I was smoking that morning. I was high, so I wasn't really paying attention. It was my birthday, so it wasn't up to me to be paying attention that closely to vehicles around me, I guess. I don't know. But I end up going by a friend of mine and let him know that, I'm going out to Clearwater. He owned a pawn shop that used to be right down Hillsborough and Rome, Hillsborough and Rome. He owned this pawn shop. His name was Rockamore, a real good friend of mine. And I stopped by and said, hey man, check this out. my birthday today. I'm going out of Clearwater. He's like, hey man, when you get finished coming back from fishing, just come over here. I got something for you. So I said, all right, cool. I'll see you when I get back. So I turned out of the pawn shop because I live right down the street from where his pawn shop was at, an apartment complex over there. So I pulled out. I'm heading down towards the apartment complex. I pulled right in front of my apartment, and I'm getting ready to get out. So I put the car in park, and I look up to the left side of, I lived on the right side on the second floor, but I looked up on the left side on the second floor. I seen two white guys with like, they had on the same thing, like jeans and like just two shirts, white shirts. I'm thinking they might be like some cable guys or, you know, someone trying to sell something. So I just peeked up there and I seen them. So I put the car in park. When I turned the car off and went to open up the door, the whole SWAT team that was in that van was on my ass. And they were so happy they got me. They were like, persistent pays, all right. And the one guy's like, hi, hey, how you doing? I'm in charge here. I'm Sergeant McLemore, and happy birthday. And persistent pays. We've been out here since 6 o'clock in the morning. We could have got you when you first came out with your daughter, but we didn't want to do it that way. We didn't want to traumatize your kids, so we waited to a convenient time for us to get you. So you know this guy, you know that guy, and long story short, I was booked in here where I went to Orient Road, and then they moved me from Orient Road to Morgan Street, which was our county and federal holdover facility in Hillsborough County. I was booked in, and I never seen the streets again for 8 years. That day, I was booked in. I was charged with armored car robbery and some home invasion kind of stuff that the kid had told the sheriff about. That's how they got onto me, and then they start connecting the dots and putting everything together. So I was booked in for armored car robbery and approximately 6 to 7 home invasions. At that time, I was like, fuck, I'm never going to see the streets again. I'm never going to get out. Matter of fact, the feds came to interview me. They pulled me into the room and they go, you might as well tell us everything you know because you're never going to see the streets again. I'm like, shit, since I'm never going to see the streets again, I ain't telling y'all shit. I'm never seeing the streets again. Ain't no sense in me having to say anything to y'all. Well, we got your wife. We're going to get your wife too. And you know what? She's going away for a long time. I like, hey, man, y'all do what you got to do. You do what you got to do. I ain't telling y'all shit. I don't know shit. I ain't never seen the streets again. So they left. They were pissed. So they took me back to my cell. I called my girl up. I said, hey man, look, don't leave the house. Stay in my mom's house, don't leave because they say they gonna get you, they gonna charge you with this, that, and the other. So if I was you, I wouldn't leave. Just stay in the house. So the next day, she gets up. She tried to leave. She decides she want to go out from my mom's house on 34th and MLK, go to the bus stop and get on the bus and head down to her mom's house. So as soon as she came out of the house and went and stood on MLK, the feds pulled up to her and arrested her with my daughter and took her and booked her in and charged her with all these charges that they tried to throw on me. The reason why they did that because they wanted her to tell on me. And I told her, look, man, do what you got to do. You have to be on the street, tell them whatever you feel like you have to tell them. You know, do what you got to do. Don't worry about me. I got me. So, they let her out. And I guess she was like showing him that she was cooperating with him, telling them so much, telling them pretty much the shit they already knew to try to make it look like she was working with them. And then I like, man, look, don't even sweat it. Just do what you gotta do. Shit, I'm the one who got myself in this. I'm the one gonna get myself out. So when I got booked in at Morgan Street, I already know about not talking to people when you get booked in. People try to get on your case. They want to try to get time cut, reduced from telling on you or what you said to them, make up shit. So you do not talk to no one, period. You try to refrain from having conversation with anybody when you place in that position. So one day, like my second or third day in there, I think I'm having chow or after chow or something, and I had this old black man come up to me that I never talked to this guy. I don't even remember if I ever seen him before in there, but he just came up to me and he goes, "Hey buddy," he's like, you ever heard of a proffer agreement?" I said, "Proffer agreement? No." He's like, "Well, if you ever did anything out there and you never got caught for it, you may ask your lawyer about a proffer agreement, because if you get on this and you get sentenced for this charge right here, and then somebody out there say, oh, I did this with Rob, Batman was there, I did this with him, then they can come and re-indict you and give you a consecutive sentence on top of the sentence that you're on." I was like, damn, really? So I know I had did like 10 bank robberies. I was like, oh, freak. Man, I'm gonna call my lawyer. So I called my lawyer and I said, "Hey, buddy, how you doing, sir? I like, you ever heard of a proffer agreement?" I was like, "What's a proffer agreement?" He's like, "A proffer agreement if you have some crimes that was committed and they were never solved, no one's never been charged with it, and it have to be information that the prosecutor or whoever they're willing to listen. It has to be something they think that's good, substantial, that they can be able to solve these cases." I like, what if I know about somebody that robbed 10 banks? Because I really didn't want to put me out there right then yet. So I said, what if I know about someone who robbed 10 banks? And he's like, if you know about someone who robbed 10 banks, you're going home tomorrow. And I was like, fuck, really? I'm like, damn, I'm going home? He's like, man, if you know about 10 banks that the guy never got caught, you're going home. I was like, okay, well, hey, go tell them, whoever you need to talk to, tell them that I know about 10 banks and I want to see what they can do. So he went and talked to the federal prosecutor at the time. And my federal prosecutor, man, he was a black guy. He was a black federal prosecutor. And I can't remember his name, but I do want to say like a year or two later, after our sentence, he left being a prosecutor here in Florida and went to Washington, D.C. to be President Clinton's Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense or Secretary for something. And he came, talked to me, and told me what the deal would be. He's like, look, I ain't making you no promises. I'm going to send 2 investigators to talk to you in the beginning of the week. And if it's something that I'm willing to listen to or something that I think might be good, helpful for my case, then I'll get with your lawyer and we'll let him know what we can do for you. I was like, okay, cool, shit, because at the time, shit, I wanted to help. My PSI, my pre-sentence investigation report came back 27 years, and I just knew that, look, I got to be able to help myself some kind of way. So, by the black gentleman telling me about the proffer agreement was something that I like, shit, something I did. I don't have to say something about someone else. It's something that the crimes that I committed, if I can use that to get leniency towards my case or my sentence, then cool, the best for me. So I end up being called out that Monday. Now, like I was saying earlier, my prosecutor ended up, like a year later, going to work for Clinton in the White House. And how I know about this is because I was sitting there after my sentencing. I got moved to Brooksville, Hernando County. That was a federal holdover. It was like a CCA, a private jail. And I was just sitting in the TV room one day watching the news or something, and a picture of my prosecutor came up saying that he just got promoted to Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense or something, working for President Clinton. I was like, fuck, I can't believe this mother. But anyway, so on that Monday, he sent 2 agents over to talk to me and to ask me about the information that I was talking to my lawyer and the federal prosecutor about. And I told him, all right, come in, how y'all doing? My name's Robert Edwards. We went inside the chapel. They had a seat. I had a seat. And I told them about the very, very first bank I robbed. And that was the bank where the guy started crying. He didn't want to rob it with me. I had to put him out at the Crystal's Hamburger, and I proceeded to do the bank without him. So I told them about that bank. It took approximately an hour and a half to tell them how I came from point A to point B. How when I told them about the bank robbery, I told them about everything, the planning, how I came up with the idea, what I wanted them to know specifically about everything that took place in order for me to be able to pull it off. I mean, because the people already said, look, don't hold shit back. We want to know everything. If you tell us or lie to us about anything, we'll take it away. We won't give you credit for the information that you gave us. I was like, well, I'll make sure they know everything. So anyway, I told the story about the first bank I robbed. I think I only told like 1 or 2. I think I was able to get into the second bank at that time after I told about the first bank. There was a older FBI agent and a younger one. The older one was approximately, I'm going to say like 65, and the younger guy, he was like in his early 30s. So when I told him about that first bank that I robbed on Hillsborough and Havana, we finished up that day. I went back to my cell, and they came the following day. Now, when they came to get me the following day, the 2 agents was already there waiting for me outside the door of the chapel. And as I'm walking up with the CO, the younger guy came up to me like, he was like, oh fuck, hey bro, man, I went back and I pulled the movie, I pulled the video recording of the bank that you robbed on Hillsborough and Havana. He's like, bro, fuck, soon as you open up the door, your first step, you're over the fucking counter, like so fast. He's like, man, why aren't you playing basketball or football? He's like, man, you're fucking quick, you were in and out of that place. And I'm standing there looking at him like, okay, yeah. I'm like thinking to myself, like, this is an FBI guy. He's like fucking pulling me. He's like pulling my dick about what I've done. Or, he's like cheering for me, like, boosting up my ego or something. And I was like, wow. He's like, man, bro, you should be playing football or basketball or something, because as soon as you open up the door, your first step, you're over the counter, like in one leap. And I was like, I had to do what I had to do. I had to get in and out. But anyway, make a long story short, I proceeded to finish up telling them about the banks that I robbed, how I did it, where they were done, how much money was taken, what I was wearing at the time. And by me doing that, they knocked from a 27-year sentence, knocked me down to a 10-year sentence. They knocked 17 years off my sentence by me telling them about the 10 banks that I robbed and never got caught for. Now, I'm not saying that I'm proud or I'm bragging about anything I've done. I guess at the time it was something that I felt like I had to do at the time because of the situation I was in. I felt like by me getting a job, having to put a week in we get in a hole before you get your first check, and I'm already behind in my rent. I'm already late on my electric, even though there was no excuse. But I felt like I needed money then. I feel like everything I did throughout my life made me the person I am today. I respect me a lot because I'm still a people person. I still, help people on the street. I ran my own business. I had, at least throughout the years, in the last 12 years of me running my own business, I had at least 15 people working for me. And you can ask any one of the 15 people about me what kind of person I am. I'm always going to be good at what I do. I'm the type of person that feels like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to put my best into it, or I'd rather not do it at all. I'm going to be the best. I don't even compete with people anymore because I'm going to outdo anybody who in the ring with me, pretty much, so to speak, because that's what type of person I am. That's what kind of work mentality I have. I want to be the best. I want to be the best at what I do. And if I do it, I want to be the one that stand out doing it. And me robbing 10 banks for such a period of time, never getting caught. I never once got caught in the action. They never even got close. But I could say this, that out of all the people in the world, I'm probably I'm very few people that's walking the street that's robbed 10 banks in an armored car and still out here on the bricks. I mean, my brother-in-law came to me one time. He said to me, like, man, I'm going to be honest with you. Ain't many people out here like you. And I was always used to be like, damn, what do you mean? Robbed 10 banks in an armored car. It's not like stealing some gum inside a candy store. It's not like jumping over somebody's fence and taking a basketball out of their yard. And I'm still able to sit here and tell my story when each and every time, my life and freedom was jeopardized. So I wouldn't really take back anything I ever did throughout my life because of the simple fact I think that made me the person I am today. For a fact, I know it made me the person I am today. And I'm 56 years old, and I really enjoy being the person I am today, regardless of my past, my background, my history. If I was to die today, I'm comfortable with everything I did throughout life. I'm happy just for me being able to make it to this age and be in the condition and the shape and the health that I'm in. Because I didn't have a hard life, but it wasn't a silver spoon. It wasn't easy. And I just want to thank everyone for listening to me, and I hope you enjoyed my story. Batman forever.